Folks, I'm back. It's been a while since I've been on here, and the last shoe show that I showed you was some experience that I had had of my own in the past. I showed you about boots, and I hope that it was very helpful for many of you. I'm going to do another one this time. This has to do with resoling your shoes. Now, I have some shoes here that I need to work on. These are some old clunkers, this one here and this pair here. These are some old clunkers. This pair is fairly new, and I need to put new soles on them. Now, when you go to the store and you buy shoes nowadays, typically they're a molded sole that's plastic, rubber, and it's molded right to the bottom of the shoe. You can't just peel it off like the old leather type of shoes. And so you have to improvise. And when you take your shoes to the shoe man, the shoe repair shop, they're going to charge you a lot of money. Now, myself in particular, I have to have a built-up shoe because of an industrial accident many, many years ago. And so I have a 3/4 inch lift that I have to put in my shoes. Here's one here that I did myself, and it needs to be redone. The sole is wore out, and this is for just working in the garden and walking down the street, not worrying about stepping into dog manure and stuff like that. So that's what these are for. So I'm going to go ahead and resole these. This is another pair here that I had that I'll be working on as well. So what I want to show you is how I start this whole process. First of all, you have to go to a supply store, either order it online or if there's one in the city where you live, go to a regular supply store for cobblers or shoe repair. All the shoe repairmen buy their supplies somewhere, and I have a store that I go to. It's several miles from here. It's in downtown LA, and it's a hard time to get there, but I go there and I pick up materials. This piece of material is the actual sole itself, and you can see this has got a kind of a knobby surface on it. It wears quite well, and it grabs. It's not going to let you slip on slippery stuff, and that's one of the reasons I have it. That and the fact that it wears well. It's called, if you can see it here, I don't know if you can see it, it's called Walk Base Style number 8032 Sport Sheet, and the size is a 4.0 millimeter in black. Now you can also get it in white. So my white shoes, I use the white. Black shoes, black obviously. And then there's this other piece of material that I use that is, it's called, this is my 3/4, it's called Airlight 36 Iron Hard. Now it's a spongy type of material. You can see here it's 3/4 of an inch thick, and it's very, very stiff. It's so many of these types of spongy materials, they're softer. And when you go to walk on them, next thing you know, you're walking off the edge because they're squashing it out. If you weigh anything over 100 pounds, you're going to squash this stuff. And a lot of these shoe repair guys like to put it in their shoes because it's easy to work with. It's soft, it's flexible, it's pliable. Well, this is not. It's a little on the stiff side, so you have to score it all the way down when you put it on your soles so that it molds around to the sole of your shoe. So I take these pieces and I set them on the floor and I stand on them, and you can see here I've drawn a square here, across here, and that's for both feet. I put both feet together and I stood on it and I just drew around it. Same with this one here. Since I only need one piece because of my shoe, then you can see my footprint here. I stood on it and I drew a square around it, and I'm going to cut that out, and then I'll show you how to mount it on the shoe itself. Okay, so I'm going to pause this for now. Okay, so I have cut out a couple of pieces. This is one for my shoe that I'm going to build up. I'll stick that on the bottom of the shoe, and I'll put the sole material, I'll put that on the bottom of this. Always make sure you got a good sharp knife. This stuff cuts fairly well, fairly easily with a knife, but it has to be sharp. So if you know how to run a steel, and make your knife razor blade sharp, that it like it will shave the hair off you, then that's what you need. And that's what it takes to cut this. Okay? Now one of the things you want to remember is that you have to have enough so that the sole will roll around here. So make sure that you have plenty all the way around to work with. Once you get it stuck on your shoe, then you can trim it off. But don't try to make it the right size in the beginning, because you'll always run short. See here? So I have plenty go all the way around. Okay? Okay, so now I'm going to peel this heavy sole off of here. And I'm going to start off here at the nose. You can see I found a loose spot right here on the tip. So what I have to do is I've got to pour a little solvent down in there. And this is the solvent that I use. It's made for the barge all-purpose cement, which is here. I got that at the shoe repair supply store that I was telling you about earlier. Anyway, so what you have to do is you take your channel locks and you get a grip on it, and you start peeling, and you just drip this stuff down into the seam where you're pulling it apart, and it'll eventually just pull right off. So I'm going to do that now, and we'll see what we got. Okay, now if you've never worked with contact cement before, it's really good stuff. Nice stuff to work with. I love contact cement, but it does exactly what it says. You make a mistake, it sticks when it makes contact. So I'm going to put this shoe on the lift that I have gooped up, okay? And I have to make sure that it's on there right. Now also, if you'll notice, contact cement needs to, it's just not quite ready. See how it pulls away? It's not quite ready. So I have to wait till it's just so it doesn't pull away. So I want it to act something like that, okay, where it's not going to pull away. So all these other spots will have to dry just a little bit more. The shoe part is just about ready to go. Give another 5 minutes and I'll be back. Okay, so I forgot to mention that you need to score these. That way it will bend around to the shape of the sole. So I scored these, and it's nice and sticky, and it should be ready to go. This is nice and sticky, should be ready to go on there. So I'm going to place that on there. I can't hold the camera and do this at the same time, so I'll stick it on there and then I'll come back. Okay, I have it stuck on there, and you can see how it bends to fit the curvature of the sole of the shoe itself. Now I'll trim all this excess off and put the sole on it. And then of course you use shoe polish, black shoe polish, to fill in where you can see the blue, the white colored blue, the yellow colored blue. That'll all fill in with boot black shoe polish. Okay, so there's the curvature of it. Okay. Now what I'm going to do, this is the other shoe that did not need the lift. I'm going to go ahead and put this on that shoe. So I'm going to go ahead and put the contact cement on here and on here. And I'll be back. Okay, so we're just about there. This has all been glued up, coated with glue on both sides. Just about ready. See, it's just a little sticky right there, a little thick, that's why. But a little bit sticky. but the rest of it is just about ready to go. I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so I've stuck the shoe on there. You can see how the sole naturally contours to the shoe because it's thinner. Stuck on there nice and good, nice and tight, nice and solid. Then you can go ahead and go around and trim all of this off, and then when it's all done, we'll put it on the belt sander and make sure it's nice and smooth. Now this shoe here, if you are a person who needs a lift on your shoe, I've put this on and I've started trimming the excess off, and you go a little bit at a time. You're very, very careful. And remember, on a shoe with a lift, the higher the lift, the more splayed out you have to be at the bottom. In other words, it's like laying a foundation. The higher the building, the wider the foundation. Some of the shoe people, that is the shoe repairmen, they make these things just the same size as the heel itself. Well, when you get up here, your foot wants to fall over. So what I do is I put this on and then I taper it out like that. I taper it out, especially on the outside. I walk on the outsides of my feet. So I taper it out. So not only is this stuff real solid, it's light, but it's very, very stiff. But I also taper it out. So when I'm out on the grass someplace, or walking out on the lawn, I'm at a family picnic, my foot isn't trying to tip over on me. It's very hard on my ankle. I cannot bend my ankle, and so I cannot have that bending like that. So I make it a little bit wider. So let's keep it in mind if you're going to make a lift on your shoe, then you want to keep that in mind. Okay, so I got the lift stuck on there. I have the sole stuck on this shoe. Now I'm going to put the sole on this shoe after I get it trimmed up to the right size the way I want it. Then I'll put the sole on and trim the sole. After it's all done, then we'll go ahead and put it on the belt sander to smooth it up. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, so now what I've done is trimmed off the excess around the right shoe, the one without the lift, and you can see where I've just kind of rough trimmed it. I'm going to put it on the belt sander and smooth up the edges, and then, as we used to say in the welding business, a little bit of paint covers over a multitude of sins. So all that glue that you see in there, I'll hit that with a little bit of boot black, and that'll take care of that. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on the grinder, and when I'm done, I'll come back and show you. And there is the finished shoe. I've gone ahead and polished it, put it on the belt sander, and there you go. Nice new sole on it, anti-skid in fact, and all polished up, so you can't see the glue or anything, see? Now I'm going to work on this one again. For those of you who need a lift, you need to pay special attention. You see how I've tapered this out? I'll show you my own shoe here. See how I've tapered it. The reason is, again, because of the being out in the grass, on the lawn, your foot has a tendency to slop to one side. You don't have enough foundation that's wide enough underneath. It must be tapered. Okay? So these are the ones that I did just recently. These are brand new shoes. So I put a sole on this one right here, and I put a lift with the sole on this one here. Okay? Now let's finish up this black one. Before I forget, I just want you to know that I've taken my belt sander and I've anchored it with some clamps here. I don't have a mount for it. I don't have any regular sanding or grinding tools like you have in a shoe store. So this is all improvised. And like I said before, for years I never had a belt sander. I just did everything with a knife and a piece of sandpaper and some files, and made my shoes work. Okay? Okay, so now we have the sole put on the shoe that has the lift. I'll go ahead and trim this off with my very sharp Chinese-made $4 pocket knife. Then I keep it sharp with my handy steel. And then what I'll do is put it on the belt sander and smooth all that up. Polish it, make it look like new. Okay folks, here it is. I have the shoe sole put on and it's trimmed, and as you can see I have a pretty good flare going on right here. I walk on the outside. If you're a tendency to walk on the inside, like if you're a little bit knock-kneed or flat-footed or something, you'll want to flare it the other way. But I flare mine out like that. So now I'm going to go ahead and put it on the belt sander. And I've got that belt sander clamped down pretty good because you've got to hang on with both hands to the shoe. And when you go around here, of course it wants to jump at you and bark and everything else. And so you want to be real careful. I ground the tip of my finger off in this thing a few years back, and it wasn't very pretty. So you have to be very careful. Get it clamped down good and solid, and then you can shape the shoe all the way around. Now I'm going to do that right now and come back. Okay, there's the finished product right there. Okay, I've got it all ground off, got the right size, got the right angle here. Okay, so good as new. So here we have a full pair of shoes. Has two new soles plus a lift on this one over here. There's one more thing that I want to do just to show you for demonstration purposes, and that is, in my previous video I showed you that the inserts, the insoles, are this cloth stuff, and they have a tendency to grab your feet, and they either tear over time or they'll make blisters on your feet. So I'm going to show you how to put this leather on here. It's pretty simple really. Same thing, a little bit of glue, stick it on there, and then trim it. This is fake leather. This is Naugahyde. I had a piece of that. This is for demonstration purposes only for you, but if you have some leather, that's the best way to go. So I'm going to glue this up, stick this on here, and show you how that works. We'll trim it with a pair of scissors, and we'll be good to go. So there's the finished product right there. That's the insole. You can see these have been around a bit. I just stuck this Naugahyde on there, and now I can put those inside a pair of shoes like so. And then when your foot is inside, instead of grabbing onto the cloth, your foot will slide nice and easy. Every time you take a step, it'll slide without hurting your feet or making sores on your feet. Well, there it is. Hope you enjoy it. Feel free to put your comments below. By the way, this stuff here, this grippy stuff here, it's really good if you need to have something to grip on to take the top off of something. It really works. I've got one of those for my mother. She's 91 years old, and she can actually open up jars and stuff with that. Just turn it around with the bumpy side against the cap and turn. Grabs right a hold of it.